Really stressful when you're at the airport and then in that very moment you realize that your residency card's expired.
It's just so funny how a piece of paper can change your life, you know? Like, I don't...
Talk about stressful, oh my gosh. Hey travel lovers, I'm Jessica here at A Wanderlust for Life, and although I normally show you travel around Europe and Amsterdam specifically, today I'm going to be talking about my immigration journey. I get lots of questions about it, so I thought it was about time to do a video on it. In this video, I'm going to tell you about how I'm allowed to live in Amsterdam, whether I'm a citizen, what my plans are, and a very emotional process that I have some footage of from a few months back, even almost a year ago, that I thought you might be interested in. So let's dive right in. How, as an American, am I allowed to live in Amsterdam? The easy answer is my husband is a European citizen. He's an EU citizen. He got his Italian citizenship in 2014, the same year we moved to Amsterdam, and that was a long drawn out process. If you want a video about that, let me know down in the comments below so we know that you're interested enough, and we'll make a video so that you can learn a little bit about that. Other Americans can move here probably a couple different ways. One that I know of is the Dutch-American Friendship Treaty, and if your job transfers you here, that's also a possibility. Of course, you can always apply for a job here and hope that they will sponsor you a visa, but it all depends on your specific situation. Okay, so let's first go where I am right now. I am a resident. I had to go through a process at the very, very beginning, and then I had to go through one more recently. So let's start at the beginning. Sean was looking for a job here, and because he's an EU citizen, he doesn't actually really have to do much of anything. He just shows up and he registers. Super easy, lucky him. So he had to have a job to sponsor me as a family member. So what I did was I came over on the tourist visa, and as most Americans know, you can come to the Schengen, which is a specific part of the European Union that has to do with free movement. And you can stay here 90 days within 180 days, I believe. So within that 90 days, Sean had to find a job, get the paperwork, and I had to have a meeting at the immigration office. Talk about stressful, oh my gosh. So he actually left about 2 weeks prior to me leaving the United States, and he came over, and he did already have some good leads, good contacts and stuff like that, so we didn't really see it as a gamble. But he came over, and it still took him about 2.5 months to get that contract so that we could go to the immigration office and settle my stuff. So about, I think it was 2 weeks before my visa would have expired, we had our meeting at the IND, which is the immigration office. And basically they just need all the paperwork. That included stuff like birth certificates, marriage certificates, work contracts, things like that. All this stuff from the United States has to get an apostille. And what that is it's basically a step above a notary that is internationally recognized. It's a step a lot of people forget. Do not forget your apostille. Just don't. It makes everything so much easier once you're here. Do that little bit of legwork when you're home, because it's a lot harder to do once you're here. When I was at the immigration office, I got a little sticker in my passport, and I would show these things to you, but they all have private information, so I'm sorry. But it takes up a full page, it's very pretty, and it had a deadline of 6 months. So the sticker was good for 6 months, and that allowed them the 6-month time frame to approve or disapprove of my application to get a visa as a family member of an EU citizen. So there shouldn't have been any issues, but you never know. 4 months later, I got that. I did the whole process, and I got my residency card, which is good for 5 years. It always felt a bit temporary. At the 5-year mark, you can either renew that or apply to be a permanent resident. And I really wanted to apply to be a permanent resident because of the different benefits that it gave me. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. This video I'm about to show you, warning, there's ugly crying. It is a very raw response as an immigrant to getting the letter that says you're accepted. Whether or not it's the first time or the second time, it doesn't matter. It's a very raw feeling, so here you go.
I am just so happy right now, and I really wanted to share that with you. I had to stop ugly crying and like hyperventilating. I was so happy that I just couldn't stop crying, and I'm still having a hard time. I got the letter from the IND, which is the immigration office, here in the Netherlands, that I got my residency. When you live somewhere, and some of you probably know this, when you live somewhere that isn't your birth country, it can be really stressful when you don't know if you're gonna be able to stay, And in the application, there were some things that I didn't know about. So I just wasn't sure. I mean, it seemed like a definite thing because Sean is an Italian citizen as well as an American. But this piece of paper, it's just so funny how a piece of paper can change your life, you know? Like, I'm just so happy. Like, this is my home now and I can stay. And that's a really big deal when you have to apply to stay in a place where you own your house, where your spouse is. So in case you're wondering what's next, funny enough, I went to renew my passport last week, so I have 2 weeks to wait still to get my passport back. And only then can I go and give the Dutch government, the immigration office, my biometrics. I've already given them to them when I got my first permit, which was good for 5 years, but I have to go back. And then they'll tell me when I can pick up my card. I don't know, it's, even when you think something is a sure thing, you just never know. And it can literally affect your future. This is good. This is really good.
That was filmed February 2020. And because I was still waiting for my passport and I was traveling to Sicily soon, yes, that was a crazy trip. I'll leave those videos up here for you. I planned my appointment to do my biometrics, so I would have to go in, take my photo, fingerprint, signature, things like that again. I did that the first time, but I would have to do it again. And I decided to do that when I got back. But unfortunately, because of COVID, they shut the place down for anyone except for emergency situations. And because I was already in the system, mine was not an emergency situation. So after about 4 different times of rescheduling, I finally got another appointment, and that was in September. So here is a look at what that day looked like. Okay, I am at the IND, the immigration office, and I'm very nervous. I've already gotten approved. I've been waiting 5.5 months to pick up my permanent residency card, but there's still that little bit of nervousness. I think I rescheduled it like 4 times because of COVID, and today's the day. And I'm just over the moon that it's done, it's taken care of. But there are a lot of rules right now, so I can't go in until like right before my appointment. Also, this is like the first day that it's properly rained in a while, and it's the only day I had to go out, so. But yeah, that's the building behind me, and luckily it is right by the train station and the metro station and a tram stop, so plenty of ways to get here, which is really nice. But all right, I think it's time to go in. I think I have everything. Pretty sure. I got it. I am so happy right now. So basically what this means is that I can stay here in the Netherlands as long as I want on my own. I'm not attached to Sean's passport anymore. I'm not attached to being family of EU. I am a permanent resident of the European Union, and there's just something about not knowing what's gonna happen, not understanding, like, when you're attached to somebody else's passport, what does that mean? Because people can change rules when it comes to family visas and stuff like that, what that means in other EU countries. The main thing is this is really only valid here. As far as I know, you can't like transfer this to another European country. Like we would have to go through the same process in another EU country where I would be attached to Sean's Italian passport and then the whole process over again. But as of right now, yeah, here in the Netherlands, it is home as long as I want it to be home. I feel settled now. Amsterdam is our home. We own our own home, our first home. And it feels good to get recognized as somebody who is allowed to live here. And I thought you would enjoy this little peek into what it's like to be an immigrant from the United States moving to the Netherlands. It's typically a pretty smooth process as long as you have the paperwork done and you have a valid reason to move here. It's really not that big of an issue, but you have to do your homework for sure. So will I ever be a Dutch citizen? No. I will be applying for Italian citizenship with Sean in about 3 years, I think. So I'm hoping to be an EU citizen within 5 years because they have 2 years to review an application. Go figure. But until then, I am so proud to be a permanent resident of the Netherlands, and I am wearing my Dutch orange today as representing. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you want more videos like this, let us know down in the comments. If you have suggestions of video topics, let us know. I love to hear from you. And we have a new Patreon. If you want to join that, we have exclusive videos and live streams for you. So you can check it out. There's a link down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.